Ray Ives here. Thanks for joining. Finishing out part 6 it's almost like I'm over it. It was a negative time, but I have to say this. As a leader, going into a career, there are going to be times. It is inevitable. So whether you're a leader in business or you're an entrepreneur, there are going to be times where you're going to be tested. Your skill set will be tested. Your stamina will be tested. Your knowledge will be tested. Your emotional intelligence, your social intelligence. It's all, everything you plan for in this game of life is going to come to a head, and there will be a difficult time. This is my difficult time. The end of part 6, my difficult time. I know I talked about the gossip ring. Those things happen. There's gossip rings. There's people that are going to spit poison and venom, and that's their oxygen. That's their lifeblood. But mostly I want to get through this. Let's get out of part 6, because part 7, that's where all of this comes to an optimized level of understanding and the catalyst for all this to happen. So part 6, the writing on the wall. Now, the gossip ring had grown exponentially. It was out of control. There was things happening all over the place. People are calling people. I had a story call one of my direct reports and basically say like, hey, you might lose your job because the Northern California business is no longer there. And the Northern California business was dissolved. And I had to watch it get dissolved and try to have that customer connection. And the customer was like he was a great dude, personable. And he's basically like, Ray, look, like you have quality issues. You have short issues. You're not giving us the amount that we need. You did a SKU rationalization and you're taking multiple price increases. I'm sorry, we just can't continue business until your company, a rat race, turns it around. I was like, okay, fair enough. So back to the gossip ring. Story calls Sophia, who lived in Northern California, was like, hey, just really worried about you. The business is gone and are you going to be okay? Like you might lose your job. And I got to the point where I was like, enough is enough. What is the intent of something like that? Like, what was expectation for this person to call the other person, except to control black magic, to be the black magician and to create confusion and chaos. And that's what was happening. You know what? This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable at every level. I picked up the phone. I called Story. Sophia, why are you calling Sophia and telling her she's going to lose her job? It's unprofessional and it's not your place. And I never pull the hierarchy card. I'm never like, boom, hierarchy, or boom, I'm your boss. This is why. Like, I'll speak through it. But at this point, I got so grinded down, and I got to the point where the manipulation and the gossip was only going to understand structure, because that's how they operate. So I dropped it. I was like, look, Sophia reports to me, bottom line. If you have any issues or any concerns, call me. I'll handle it. I'm her basically manager. And so it was tense. And the next thing that happened, so Story calls Sophia. She called Masha. Masha's new to the company. Story called Masha and was like, hey, look, if you need anything, if you want to know anything, or if you have any questions, I know you don't want to go to your boss sometimes. You just started. You don't want to look foolish. You don't have to go to Ray. You could just come to me. Cutting lines, creating dots, creating a structure, an invisible structure, right? That was the gossip center. It's all too much. How is this happening at a big company? And so in my personal life, I knew I needed to take a break. I needed to try new things to take my mind off stress. And that's what I did. I started working out more. I started reading more. I took a leadership class. I was able to apply some of those learnings in my day-to-day, and it just reset my approach. It reset my thinking. And a lot of times I needed that because, again, I was at my point, that inevitable point in a career or an entrepreneur's journey or a vision seeker's journey, that it's going to be difficult. And I was having a difficult time. So I knew like things had to change. At the same time, companies were reaching out to me, consulting companies were reaching out to me to do consulting work. And again, the then and now, going back to a time and a place where, 25 years old, I was a bartender, not educated, to now having these consulting companies wanting to have conversations with me, or they had clients, either private equity clients or board clients that wanted to do research. Okay. Ego aside, what they need to know is I'm division vice president for a publicly traded company. I've had an extensive career up to this point, adding value or at least valuing myself and my time. Look, no problem. Let's consult. $1,500 an hour. Just dropped it. 1,500. 1 hour. If you could do it, great. If not, that's okay too. And I knew that I was so valuable in sort of the formula, what they were looking for. You know, having broker experience, having retail experience, private equity experience, publicly traded, privately owned, manufacturing side, all facets of this industry I had. And so I started out at 1,500 and the company came back. I was like, okay, like we never pay that much. He's like, I'd like to give you that much. It's out of budget, but I could give you 1,000 an hour. I was like, 1,000 an hour? I was like, okay, great. I had another consulting company call me, same approach, same presentation. Time is money, valuable, extensive career, $1,500 an hour. Like, no, he give you 600. I was like, okay. So these consulting roles started coming in. 1 hour, $1,000. 1 hour, $600. This is a second stream of income, feeling good. And it kept my mind working. It kept my mind off the stress and plugged me into fun things and the things that I loved, enjoyed, and were really passionate about in my industry, in my sector. Managing people, strategizing, having vision, 2 to 3 year business plans, growth. That's where it was. And that's where I was coming alive. And that's helped me not only secure extra income, but also secure my mental health. I was fulfilled in this sense. So I had a weekly call with my now boss. Again, it was a new boss, Biddy. So, and I started becoming very candid with Biddy. Let's work together. If we really want to fix this, let's fix it. Let's not pretend to fix it, but let's get on the same page. If the company's for sale, you want to sell the company, I get it. Everybody's talking about it. Her and I never talked about it, but everybody knows the company's for sale. Let's be transparent. What are we trying to accomplish? Do we just want to get the most sales so the books look good? What do we want to do? Do we want to go over profit margin? Do we want to go over, new customers, legacy customers, the biggest customers? And I was prepared. So here comes a weekly call with Biddy. This is the moment. Biddy calls, says hello. And she's like, oh, Ray, hold on. I'm in a conference in Chloe. And I was like, okay, great. Chloe, VP of marketing. Awesome. Love talking to her. I'm on the collaboration committee with her, the innovation committee, and just a cool person. And so all of a sudden, she's like, Ray, you there? And I was like, yeah, I have Chloe on the line. Chloe. And it wasn't Chloe from marketing. It was Chloe from HR. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So Biddy just starts out. She's like, this is a hard conversation for you, but there's no easy way to say it. We did another round of restructuring and your position has been eliminated. Boom. It just came crashing down at that moment. Like, you're gone. And when I started this out, I said, things are inevitable. It's inevitable to be in a career. There's going to be hard times and struggles, right? And I made a decision. Is I could have been quiet and been a good paid actor. A good paid actor, meaning whatever Biddy wanted, that jargonful answer, that political answer, that kiss up answer. But when everything isn't good, I just felt it within my integrity, not have that, to not be a paid actor, to say, look, if we want to change things and we want to get this company back on track, it's going to take this from a sales perspective, from a margin perspective, and from our operational perspective. This is what we need. If we're willing to do these things, we can make it happen. I'm on board. My team's on board. We're ready to get out there, build relationships, grow programs, increase business, look to the future for growth. But we needed a certain set of tools. Instead, we were basically PR. Like, the sales department was a PR department. We had to clean up our own messes. So here I am. And it was another moment of reflection. I remember I had a whiteboard at home, and it came to the point I was like, okay, look, am I going to be a person of integrity, or am I going to be this corporate paid actor that's going to get exploited, that's going to be emasculated, is just going to have to be like a blowhard, right? Just like a weasel, a kiss up. And I decided I was going to stick with integrity. So on my whiteboard, I wrote, get fired, exclamation point. Huh. And sometimes I look back at that and I think, okay, get fired up. Get fired up. It had two meanings for me. First, I knew I was prepared to put it on the line at this point and get fired. And getting fired, and I call this probably 3-4 months before it happened, was getting fired didn't seem so bad. Like this position, this company was sucking the life soul out of my heart, out of my mind, out of my, it was beginning to affect my personal life. And nobody cared. The company was for sale, moving forward. It was the ultimate exploitation to siphon as much knowledge and sell off pieces of everyone's reputation to save this business that was struggling they were investing in. At least that's how I saw it. So part one, get fired. I'm okay. Get fired. I had the consulting coming in now and I was like, all right, get fired. And then get fired up. And it was kind of like the subtle part is like, get fired or get fired up. Meaning if I'm going to contribute to the success of the mission, of the company values, of the culture, I'm going to have to get fired up. I'm going to have hard conversations. I'm going to have to be eloquent and diplomatic and strategic. Okay. But I knew there was a risk here. So here I am. The risk paid off in some ways. And I'm going to tell you how. So basically, I went right into it. I was like, you know what, Biddy, I understand. I know this is difficult for you. I completely understand that the hierarchy had some redundancies. It makes sense. But I want to say this. And I couldn't believe I just went into it right away. Subconsciously, like I knew I was more than likely going to get released by keeping my integrity. And it basically said my time at a rat race has been one of the greatest learning experiences and growth drivers in my career. And it has. It was difficult. It was not pleasant. It was stressful. I was unhappy. And that's where the learning was. That's where the learning was to say, okay, I've made it through this. I've made it through the darkness, the valley of darkness, the shadow of death. I walked through it. And I paid one last compliment. I've always loved the La Sporing Bakery brand. You know, the 15 months have been a wonderful experience. And I just simply want to say thank you. I wish everyone success. All true things. All true things. Wonderful experience in the sense I was learning, okay? I've met great people. I've seen the operations side. I've connected with finance and accounting. So all these things were happening. Said my piece, what's next? So Chloe from HR jumped in and she's basically, you know, I'm sorry, you're great. I always liked you. You're always optimistic. The hierarchy changed. You know, we're going through some structural changes. Okay, great, whatever. So she started out by saying, one, we are going to honor your retention bonus. Okay, we're going to honor your retention bonus. That's $30,000. Secondly, we're going to give you a 4-month severance. And we're going to give you a $4,000 stipend for COBRA insurance. And we're also going to give you a career coach. And I was like, okay, so basically I'm getting 7 months full pay. I'm going to stop there. 7 months full pay. I was there 14 months. Like the industry standard is you get like, I don't know, a week to 2 weeks for every year served. And I was getting basically 7 months for 14 months. Half my time. Fully paid. Plus an additional, plus a coach. And I don't know what a career coach does. And $4,000 stipend for COBRA insurance. So it all just hit. These emotions just came undone. First, I was relieved. I was relieved to no longer be part of an organization that was in a state of confusion and transition. That could be interpreted in any way. There's no more foodie gossip rings. There was no more client issues, shorts, SKU rationalizations, price increases, all at the same time. There was no more putting my integrity on the line. This was a great deal. This was the exit package. So everything in the beginning of the career that I thought was unattainable. And I know this was the bad part of it. But again, signing bonuses, big salary, all paid expense trips, corporate credit cards, retention bonuses, severance packages. It was like I experienced it all. The good, the middle, the end. Here it was. And I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there because I feel like this is the time to really just stop the negativity. I made it through the darkest point of my career and had a runway. I had a 7-month runway. 7-month runway to maybe accomplish something else, jump into something else, something that maybe I was really passionate about. Going back to the cake people. Oh, they're passionate about decorating cakes and getting that centerpiece perfectly there for celebratory events, for birthdays, for anniversaries, that art, that ability to create. Like that was their passion. Those were the cake decorators. And then there was the bread people that were passionate about, starters and fermenting dough and creating this science experiment that came out to be like food art and food theater. Just thrilling, right? So everybody's passionate around and really going through that process. I set out and my goal was to have a successful career. And so at this point, senior vice president for publicly traded company. And I was like, okay, like what else do I have to prove to myself? I am successful. And I say that as a reinforcement. Again, and it's relative. I am successful when I look at myself in the mirror compared to the person that I used to be. I'm proud of that person. I'm proud of that person because I know how difficult it was to earn the stripes, to earn those positions, the sacrifice, all of that. Like I earned it. Success is relative in this context. It's not that ultra high success, that billionaire, that unicorn success, but it's my success. And those are the things in the book, The Pen of an Underdog, that start to reveal, as the reader, reveal what's happening and what can happen in your life. So whether you're a shoemaker, a candle maker, a cardiologist, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to do something else, there's going to come a time where either through burnout or motivation of success, you're going to change. Let that be sooner or later. The Pen of an Underdog, check it out. I'm going to stop there. Let's stay connected. More to follow. Thanks for listening.